Hi everyone, good to meet you again. In this lesson, I will discuss a little bit about the first chapter of introduction. I have often found that students and researchers ignore or underestimate the significance of their introduction part. Actually, this is one of the most important parts of the research paper. When you submit a manuscript to a high quality journal, editors in general briefly run through the introduction part. Why? Because it is supposed to contain the motivation of your research so that reviewers can determine whether this research is worth being conducted or not. However, surprisingly, let alone students, many professional researchers overlook the impact of this chapter while making serious mistakes by putting some background information alone without their own argument. So now I'd like to briefly guide you on a general structure of introduction and what should be included in each section of this chapter. Alright, let's go. The purpose of the introduction is to convince reviewers and readers that there are great reasons for this research should be conducted. Here are some guided structures on how to highlight the value of your research to readers. The section 1, background, section 1.2, current issues, and 1.3, contribution of your paper. Let's go through one by one. In this first section, you need to discuss the following questions. What is happening in your research field? And what is a key issue to be resolved? And what is a general trend to resolve that issue? Just let me try to fit one of my research works to these questions. I'm presently working on environmental assessments of renewable energy sources for marine vessels. For the first question, I'd like to say that shipping industry is grappling with devising methods and technologies to achieve zero-emission shipping by 2050. For the second question, one of the key challenges is that the conventional diesel fuels are attributed to high levels of air pollution. So we have to resolve this issue. For the last question, alternative fuel sources such as carbon neutral energies like hydrogen or ammonia have widely drawn attention for the future maritime energy sources. Does it make sense? Up to here, there is no new knowledge added, but all the information is widely known and agreed. However, the reasons why you need to have this section is to highlight the next section, that is current issues. What does this mean, current issues here? Is that a kind of issues that I just mentioned in the previous slide? No, not at all. These issues can be interpreted in this way. What is wrong with the current trend that we discussed in the previous slide? In other words, in this section, we have to raise a question on current issues and trends. This question should not be widely discussed yet. This question should be unique and interesting. The more unique your question is, the higher novelty your research will have. Here are some guided questions. What is wrong with what is happening in your research field? And what is wrong with a key issue to be resolved? And what is wrong with the general trend? Again, if I talk about my research, I could raise this kind of question. I trust that it is wrong that people without doubt believe the hydrogen fuel will resolve the environmental issues in the shipping sector. But here is a question. Does hydrogen fuel really contribute to zero emission? I do not agree, because hydrogen is produced from fossil fuels like natural gas. That means there may be high levels of emissions associated with hydrogen production. As the last section, you now need to present your ideas and plans to demonstrate your question that is valid. Again, here are some key guided sentences. How to resolve what is wrong with what is happening in your research field, and how to resolve what is wrong with a key issue to be resolved, and how to resolve what is wrong with a current trend. For my research, I'd like to say I will investigate the holistic environmental impact assessments for marine fuels, including hydrogens, and demystify the environmental benefits and or harms of those energy sources to determine those fuels are truly contributing to zero emission or not in the shipping sector. Before closing this lesson, I would like to highlight that the introduction is where you have to start your argument against current trends, and please do not waste this chapter by describing meaningless background information without any question or argument. Alright, thank you very much for your watching. See you next time.